Hey, what's going on guys? Dan here. And today I've got a tutorial for you guys on how to create 2D intros or 2D animations in Cinema 4D. So basically what I'll be talking about is how to use splines and spline masks with keyframing to create pretty nice 2D intros animations. So this is kind of what we'll be creating today. And obviously the possibilities are endless with this. This is just something simple that you could create and just use as a starter point. So if I'll get started, go to File, New. So firstly, what I like to do is rotate my camera so it's aligned with the green is aligned with the blue like so, and we should have something looking like that. And I'm just gonna drag a camera down, so I have something like that. And I'm just going to go to my render settings and my output and just change it to 1280 by 720. And I'm going to drag a plane, and what this is pretty much be the background. So I'm going to drag a plane, rotate it 90 degrees, like so, and just make it fill up this whole section like that. And right now I'll just put a material on this plane. And what I like to do when putting materials on for 2D intros is take off the specular and just choose a color. So I'm gonna choose, I guess, a kind of dark gray, like that, like that. And also, I like to drag a light, sorry, and just move it back. So instead of using this screen, I like to go to the top view and just drag the light out like that. And what this kind of gives it is kind of like a more of a gradient, as you can see, and it gives it the animation overall better look. So after we've done that, I'm gonna go in my spline section and put a rectangle in. And right now, if you render it, you will not see the rectangle. That's because it's a spline. And to work with spline mask, you obviously need a spline. So any of these shapes over here will not work. And accidentally clicked it there. So after we have that rectangle, we're going to go to Object and change the width and the height to 300 by 300. So we should have a little bit smaller square. And I'm going to drag another square in, make this 150 by 150. And the reason I'm doing that is because it will be like a quarter of the size of this. So you'll see later on how this will work out. So after, what you want to do is just duplicate these layers just by clicking Control C, Control V. So we have one big rectangle and four small rectangles. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my thing right here up to 20 frames. And I'm going to drag my square right along here and up like that. But before I go on, I would just like to mention, if you don't know much about basic keyframing, I would probably not recommend this tutorial, just because I will be, using keyframing, and if you don't know how to use it, just YouTube it. It's not very difficult to learn, but yeah. So moving on, so drag the first rectangle up into this corner, so it's aligned like that. So you have it aligned like so. And obviously you can be more precise, but just because of a tutorial reason, I'm just going to do it real quick, but I think that's pretty accurate anyways. So I'm going to grab a second rectangle, drag it down and to the right, like that. And maybe just move it a little bit. And once again, you can be more accurate, as I'm just working around with it, like so. And I'm going to drag the third rectangle, move it to the left, and down, like so. And obviously, you could move the rectangles around if you want, this one to be on the right side or whatever. But this is just basically just to explain how things work. But it does create a really cool animation. And finally, I'm going to drag the fourth rectangle and just drag it up. And just move it a bit to the left. And we should have something like this right now, as I'm trying to make it just a bit more precise. Yeah. So once you have something like this, you're going to highlight all these just by clicking one of the rectangles, holding shift, and clicking the other one. So we have all of them highlighted. Go to chord, and you want to select X, Y, Z, actually not Z, the X and Y's, and just control click in this gray box. And what this does is sets a keyframe right here. Next, what you want to do is set this thing to 60 frames, or however long you want it. But I'm just gonna set it for 60 frames and move the square back into it like that. So it fills up this little part of the square. And we're gonna keyframe X. So what this does is makes the square move into the right corner of the bigger square, like that. Next, what we're going to do is get rectangle number 2 and just move it up, like so. And we're just going to click the gray box again just to keyframe it. And now we have both of them moving in. And you're just going to do the same thing for the other 2 squares. So I'm just going to do this real quick. Move that in, keyframe. Now we have all 3 of them moving in. And it's important to keyframe. It'll be kind of a piss off if you forget to keyframe them. So you just want to move them in. Last one in and just keyframe it. Hopefully I got that pretty accurate. Looks alright for now. So now we have something like that. So now that we have the kind of the animation down, we're just going to use the spline masks, and we're almost there. This part kind of gets confusing. I maybe suggest just to kind of listen up a little bit more. But yeah. So firstly, what you want to do is drag a spline mask. So you just want to click around here, spline mask, and you want to drag the big rectangle into the first spline mask, and drag one of the rectangles. Just go for the first one, just so you don't confuse yourself, into the spline mask. So what this does, as you can see, it kind of like for now, it looks like that big rectangle is a part of it. So what we're gonna do is go to Object, and on the mode, we want to put it to B subtract A. So what B subtract A does, you can see it kind of erases the big square as the little square moves in. And we're just going to do this same thing now. So we're going to drag another spline mask, drag that spline mask into the other spline mask that we just put in. So we have something looking like that. Grab rectangle number 2, drag it into the spline mask that we just put in, select spline mask, and put the mode to B subtract A. And as you can see right now, we have 2 of them erasing the big square. And just kind of ignore the lines for now. We will be fixing them later. And for now, we'll just put another spline mask in, drag that spline mask, and drag rectangle number 3 into the spline mask that we just put, and select spline mask, object, mode, B subtract A, and do the same thing for the last rectangle. And B subtract A. So we should have something like that. And as you can see right now, they move in and they erase that square. And the reason that we have those lines is I probably didn't place my squares that accurately. That's not a problem, because I can just make my bigger square a little bit smaller. It's not going to play a big difference. But if you want if you want your thing to look perfect, I'd recommend making the squares keyframed more accurately. So we have something like that for now. Now I'm just going to drag every spline mask up, and I'm going to put it extrude NURBS, and I'm going to drag the spline mask into the extrude NURBS. And we're going to go to extrude NURBS first, and just move it a little bit. We're going to move it in front of the plane so we can actually see it. So I'm going to put it at -5, like so. And we're going to go to Object, and on the movement down here, you might want to put it on 2 centimeters. So what this will do, as you can see, before we had it at 20, so it's thicker. At 2, we have it more 2D-ish, like so. And now what we're going to do is we're going to drag a material on it. So I guess I'll just pick a kind of light bluish color, turn off specular, and maybe just more bluish, like so. Turn off specular and just drag the blue color. And I put it on the light by accident. So now we have this moving in like so. So right now it kind of looks plain, it looks a little bit bland. So I'm just going to show you a couple of, I guess, some tips, some stuff that you can do just to make your animation look a lot better from here on in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this extrude NURBS, I'm going to duplicate the layer, so Control C, Control V. I'm going to delete this material on it, and I'm going to add another material on it. So I'm going to pick kind of a white color, turn off specular, and just drag a white material on it. And I'm going to go to Chord, put this to -10, so drag another 5 points in front of the blue. So, and now what we're going to do is right-click on that right-click on that extrude NURBS, go to Select Children, select these 2 keyframes. So you just want to click and drag, select these 2 keyframes, and put it down to 5 frames. So what this does, you just made the white one go in first, and then the blue one. So it kind of follows. And if you render that out, that looks looking pretty nice. So it kind of follows in, like so. And I'm going to do that one more time, just because, just to give it a better look. So I'm going to take out specular and make this one a very dark, almost black kind of color. We're going to go to Chord, and just 5 frames in front, and select Children, and put it 5 frames back. So we should have something like this. And it is a bit laggy because I do have a lot of stuff open, but yeah. And right now I'm just going to explain to you how to kind of introduce it. So, just so it's not a square at the beginning of your animation. This is very simple. So first what we're going to do is put these all under a null. So click on the cube, select null, highlight them all, and put them under a null. And I'm going to go at 0 frames, and just click on the null, go to coordinates, and just put the size down to 0. And just keyframe at 0 frames. And I'm going to drag it around, 20 frames, and I'm going to put them back to 1. So what we should have is this square coming in. But once again, it kind of looks bland, just coming in, it just rotating, unless you kind of like it more simplistic, it's personal preference. But another thing you can do is add a rotation. So at 0 frames, we're going to select the last rotation one. I'm going to keyframe at 0 frames, and I'm going to drag it to, let's say, at 60 frames, so where it ends. And I'm going to make it rotate 360 degrees. So now right now, if we play the animation, we have it rotating like that. And I think that animation, looks very nice. And I think the benefit of creating 2D animations in Cinema 4D, other than After Effects, is you can create more complex animations, as long as you know what you're doing. But hopefully you guys will take something out of this tutorial. You know, it will take a lot of practice to get used to, but I think it's worth it. Just because the 2D animations and intros just look a lot better in Cinema 4D, in my opinion, that is. And I think that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you learned from this tutorial. Hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a comment if you want any more tutorials. Please leave a like. It's just, it really makes my day. And thanks for watching.